Our country's not for sale. It will never be for sale.
Good morning, Premier. Mark McAllister from City News.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
A lot of talk from you today about Canada as a whole rather than Ontario specifically. Just wondering why you feel the need to step up and speak on behalf of the entire country.
Well, right now, I've been blessed to be the chair of the Federation, and I never speak on behalf of all premiers. I always get a consensus, and we are meeting today. And we look forward to sitting down, making sure that we have a strong plan moving forward. There's a lack of leadership right now at the federal government, and someone has to stand up for Ontario, someone has to stand up for Canada. And I want to congratulate all the premiers because they're doing the exact same thing as what I'm doing in their jurisdictions, and I appreciate everything that all the premiers from all the provinces and territories. We have a great group of premiers, fabulous, and I'm fortunate to have a great team representing Team Canada.
The term Fortress AMCAN, you've been using it for a number of months now. Is there not a danger of it being misinterpreted in some way? You've now got the president-elect talking about an artificial border. He could be looking at Fortress AMCAN very differently than you are.
Well, very, very simple. The people I've been speaking to, be it the governors or the senators or congresspeople, even if they're Republican or Democrat, they don't agree with what President Trump is proposing. Our country's not for sale. It will never be for sale. But I think we work together, have an incredible trade deal. We could be the most, richest, wealthiest, prosperous, safest jurisdiction anywhere in the world if we work together. We have the critical minerals that they need. We have the energy they need. We have a lot of things that they need. And, some Americans may sit back and think we can go it alone. Well, a message to my American friends, which I love, you can't go it alone. You know something, if this goes through, these tariffs, it's going to hurt millions of Americans. It's going to hurt millions of Canadian jobs. It's better we work together, take on the world, and we're unstoppable.
Morning, Premier. Lane Harrison, CBC News.
Hi.
What do you think, or how much do you think Trudeau can do to deal with Trump, given he's on his way out of his job?
Well, what we expect from the Prime Minister, we sent him a letter the other day, and he's agreed to meet in person on next Wednesday. And, the message is you need to do everything you can to stop the tariffs. We need to see your plan. We need to see the plan that you announced on border security. There's one thing to put a plan out there. There's another thing to see absolute action happening. So we're going to hold his feet to the fire until the day he's no longer Prime Minister. He's still Prime Minister. He still has a responsibility to make sure that we avoid these tariffs at all cost and make sure that he secures the border and commits to the 2% NATO funding.
When it comes to that looming change in Ottawa, do you think that Trump cares much who is Prime Minister of Canada, or do you think he kind of just has it in for the country in general?
Yeah, I can't speak for President Trump. I can tell you one thing, that we have a strong group of premiers representing the country right now. We're going to head down to Washington. I believe it's the first or second week in February, and we'll be representing Canada proudly. And we have a great relationship. Folks, as you know, this is all about building relationships. I'm on the phone every single day with governors, congresspeople, and senators every single day. And they're great people. They aren't saying a word. And I have a lot of friends in the U.S. I speak to. Not once have they said, Canada is the problem. I'll tell you who the problem is. China's the problem. Shipping in cheap parts into Mexico, and Mexico slapping a Made in Mexico sticker on it, shipping it up through the U.S. and Canada, costing American and Canadian jobs. That's unacceptable. And Mexico has to make a decision. You're either with Beijing or you're with Washington. I can tell you what Canadians are with. We're with Washington.
Hi, Premier. Alison Jones with the Canadian Press.
Hi.
The President-elect said yesterday that he doesn't need anything from Canada. So what makes you think that you'll find a willing partner to this plan?
Well, with all due respect to the President, who his handlers are, who's misinforming him, right now we ship 4.3 million barrels of crude oil down to the U.S. 60% of their imports, energy imports, are coming from Canada. We keep the lights on with 1.5 million homes and businesses in the 3 states that I mentioned. We have critical minerals that get shipped across the border every day for their manufacturing capabilities and their military. And the list goes on and on and on. Saskatchewan produces uranium that gets shipped over to Ontario to be refined. And, they wouldn't be able to survive without the uranium for their weapons. So we want to work with them. Nickel, up in Sudbury. We have some of the finest grade nickel in the world the Americans need to keep their manufacturing going. So, I want to work with the president. I want to make sure we have a strong alliance. And when we work together, there's no one that can stop us. So we'll see what happens on January 20th, and then we'll react from there.
And have you had any conversations with U.S. officials or companies about this plan, looking to expand interties, pipelines, all of that? Or is this all just very preliminary at this point?
No, I've talked to many elected officials down there about our plan. I've talked to many, many CEOs. Some of the largest companies in the world, the CEOs wrote a letter to the president saying, they just do not believe in these tariffs. They're so intertwined into their Canadian divisions. I met with 20 or 25 of the top CEOs in Canada just a couple of weeks ago when all the premiers were in. They're saying the same thing. This is going to hurt American and Canadian jobs. 9 million Americans wake up every morning in the U.S. to produce products for Ontario alone. Canada as a whole, the $1.3 trillion, we are their number one trading partner, even though Jesse Waters thinks we're number 2. We're number 1. I think he was counting pesos, not Canadian dollars, when he said they were number 1. But in saying that, we're the number 1 trading partner to 27 states as a country. As Ontario's 17 states, we're their number 1 export destination. So I'm sure his team, the senators and congresspeople, private sector business people are in his ear. But that's President Trump, right? We'll deal with him.
Good morning, Premier. Mike Walker, CTV News Toronto.
Hi, Mike.
With the president-elect appearing to double down on imposing the tariffs, you mentioned on Monday that there are several options on the table for Ontario in terms of retaliation. You have previously spoken about cutting off energy exports. Can you elaborate on what those other options are and how you came to those?
Well, without divulging to our friends in the U.S., we have a whole host of products that we ship up that we're going to be targeting, especially in the 17 states we deal with as their number 1 export destination. You turn up the heat on them. Believe me, they will be in the president's ear when these companies are laying people off because they aren't shipping products, or they are shipping it at a 25% higher cost. And I use this example. Someone in Texas buys a pickup truck that's produced here in Oshawa, not far away from here. They typically would pay $60,000. Now, that same person in Texas is going to pay $75,000 if he puts tariffs on vehicles. And I know the president mentioned, we don't need to build cars. Well, Mr. President, that's not accurate at all. We buy as many cars from the U.S. as we ship down there. Majority of the cars that we do ship down there, 50% of the parts come from the U.S. It's so integrated. Again, the auto pack has been around since the 1960s. So we just need to work together. And I know the American people, I know them very well. They do not feel this way.
And just following up on the very first question you were asked from my colleague about kind of taking the lead role in the last few weeks, appearing kind of prime ministerial with this. Down the road, do you see yourself taking a more federal position?
I appreciate that, but my main focus is to protect the people of Ontario. And as chair of the Federation, I have to make sure I represent all the premiers across the country, no matter from coast to coast to coast. And that's my job, and I'm going to fulfill that job and work day in and day out to make sure we protect Canada and protect Ontario as this inauguration happens January 20th.
Bonjour, Jérémy Bergeron, Radio-Canada. Donald Trump is still repeating that he wants to annex Canada to the state. Do you think it's still a joke at this point, or are you worried?
You know, something I'm always concerned when a president of the most powerful country in the world says these statements. But that's not going to happen. And we're going to make sure that we work collaboratively, side by side, with elected officials in the U.S. Keep in mind, it's not a parliamentary system in the U.S. We have the greatest political system in the world, in my opinion, the parliamentary system. The president obviously has a lot of power and presidential orders, but he still has to get through Congress. He has to get through Senate. And there might be some hurdles that he has to cross when he gets there. So let's all just work together. That's what I'm preaching right now to our American friends. We're your strongest allies, closest friends. You know, over 800,000 Americans live up here. Another 800,000 or 900,000 Canadians live in the U.S. We need to work together, and everyone feels the same way.